Welcome aboard, folks. Here we go to another edition of Your Voice Counts on RBN, the best station that I can think of that I would like to be associated with. And folks, if you want to call in, just call in at 877-488-5350. 877-488-5350. Tonight we have a very interesting show, a very, very interesting show, and Virginia Abernethy is going to be our guest, and I have a co-host that's going to be on here with me, Ron Kukal. I think most of you know about Ron. Great guy, great person, and I always enjoy doing a show with Ron. He has a great sense of humor and a great grasp of what's going on in this country of ours right now. Ron Kukal is a former communications technician, a very honored, respected duty in any armed forces. And them being what they were at that time were the most respected, honored men that did the spy agency their bidding, National Security Agency. So thank you, Ron, and I want to appreciate you being my co-host tonight. Ron was aboard the Liberty when we got attacked and brought her into Malta, and Ron was a first-class petty officer. That's an E6. And, the Army language and, of course, the Air Force and Marine Corps. E6 is a very respectable rate. And Ron, unfortunately, had the duty of being a petty officer in charge of body recovery and identification. Certainly something that I would never want to go through. I was there, but I did not have to do the job that my dear friend and shipmate Ron Kukal did. And I want Virginia to know and Ron to know that I have to do a couple things here to get this show going. And please hang on, and we'll get you on just as soon as we can. And again, my special, very, very special guest, honored guest, is Mrs. Virginia Deane Abernethy. No one is more well versed in anything than she is, and I am so happy to have her back on my radio show. I'm just biting at the bit to talk to her. But so hang in there, Virginia. We'll get you up in just a little bit, and we do this show, of course, folks, for the USS Liberty, and I'll get into that in just a minute, but I got to do the Liberty business first. Thank you all, first of all, for the listeners. Without you guys, we're nothing. And RBN, puts on my show, Your Voice Counts. They've been doing it for quite some time. Before that, it was, folks, I didn't know the song was coming in, but we got a break. I apologize. We'll be right back.
How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
An effective 100% organic nutritional supplement is now available to be shipped out to you rush delivery. Heart and Body Extract is a 100% natural, organic, and wild-crafted formula made out of garlic, hawthorn berries, hawthorn leaves, coleus, motherwort, bilberry, butcher's broom kelp, mistletoe, ginger, and cayenne pepper. It is an excellent formula designed to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. Order your 2-month supply by visiting heartandbody.com or by calling 866-295-5305. 866-295-5305. Take the high road to a long and happy life. heartandbody.com.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TERRAVIM.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the Liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 34 and wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down the merciless napalm. It looked like a devil's star war, and the Liberty fell like a wounded and dying lamb. The men in the light betrayed.
Welcome aboard, folks. Here we go again. And again, greetings and thank you all for joining us on this Friday night. It's a beautiful, wonderful fall in Colorado, about 45 degrees at night and a little over 80 to 85 in the daytime. You couldn't ask for anything more, and I hope that's that beautiful in this fall time in your part of the country. And that beautiful voice you just heard there is my dear friend Kat Faber, and Kat is a very accomplished musician and a very, very supportive and honest contributor, and my producer, along with her husband, Rick, of Your Voice Counts. And without these guys, as well as Ron Kukal and others, I just don't know how I could do the show. I really don't. I want to say hello to Kat's parents. Her father just had a operation in his heart, and everything's going well, and he's fine. He's 87 years young, I believe, and his wife, Helen, is just right up there with him, so they're getting along, shopping, having a great time, and I really appreciate them for doing what they're doing, as long as Ron Kukal keeps on doing what he does too, getting great guests online. And that's one of the reasons I'm very happy today to have Ron on the line with this wonderful guest we have coming up, Virginia Abernethy, because both of us have had the pleasure of meeting her in purpose, Ron more than I have, but the time I did spend with Virginia was time that I'll never forget. in my lifetime because it was something special to me. And if you want to listen to Kat's songs, her beautiful voice, just go to Kat's Songs, USS Liberty. Kat's Songs, USS Liberty. Now I might goof that up because I just wrote this down a little while ago because I haven't been doing it lately. And I'm going to make sure that I get this right before we go on. Also, I want to thank a special friend, John Godusco, former intelligence officer aboard the USS Liberty. John was a lieutenant aboard the Liberty and left the ship just before we left the United States of America to go on to Hell's Fury. And last week I said to Helen instead of Betty that John has been taken care of. He's what a good man he is, and his wife has unfortunately hurt her foot, and she's healing, and John is taking care of her, and they're getting back, to full speed, hopefully very soon. But I want you to go to John Godusco's site, if you would, please. It's tiny URL .com/USS Liberty. It's tiny URL.com /USS Liberty. It's the very best site to go to on the internet. Don't go to any other ones. I'm telling you, folks, I've done this too many years and seen too many sites. But for sure, don't go to Jim Ennis's site. I'll guarantee you that, because you're going to get a lot of bull there, and you're going to get a lot of anti-Semitism this, anti-Semitism that, if you do this or you say that. We're not into that. We're into telling the truth, like RBN, just real talk, real news, real people. It's just we don't allow for any bull like that. So you go to John Godusco's site. And I was going back over my notes here, and I'm so kind of strung out here sometimes with notes. I put everything everywhere, but just go to Songs USS Liberty for Kat's site, Songs USS Liberty, and you can also get a lot more from just her songs. You can read what's going on there, and a very, very interesting site. And I thank you all, John Godusco, Kat, Rick, and all of you for being so kind to do what you do, and for the USS Liberty. It is not forgotten by me, not 1 minute of the day, including my guest coming up here very soon. Now, I do this show, folks, in honor and deep respect for my shipmates, living and the deceased. And I also do it for the deepest respect of my country, the country I love, the United States of America, the country I grew up in, the country I was born in 1946, the country I will support, but I will not support my country when they're wrong. I will voice my opinion, whether it be heard or not heard or discounted. I will voice my opinion. 34 of my shipmates were slaughtered by the government of Israel on June 8, 1967. 174 others were wounded, including my guest, along with my co-host, along with me tonight, Ron Kukal. We will not then, now, or ever give in to the war crimes, what they did to USS Liberty, shooting our life rafts, dropping napalm on us. Now, folks, we were in international waters. We were identified as American and friendly. We never ever posed a threat to anybody. But they did it anyway. They murdered my shipmates and tried to murder me. And they did it in cold blood. There were over 850 cannon rocket holes in the ship, over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets, napalm burning us up. The life rafts got shot up. We put 3 in the water. They shot 2 of them up and took 1 aboard the ship. We were going to put our most severely wounded in those life rafts. We just got hit by a torpedo. Some say it was 29 by 23. Some say 40 by 40. Let's just say 5 by 5. They shot a torpedo at us, and it almost sunk us. The old man said, put over the life rafts. We only had 3 left. Out of a crew of 294 souls, we only had 3 left, and there was enough for way over 400 crew members. And they did not want a soul to survive, not one soul. That tells you the gravity of it. Also, folks, the government of the United States recalled the aircraft that came to our aid. Thank you, Captain Tully, for sending 2 volleys of aircraft to our aid. Thank you, Captain Tully. But regretfully, they were recalled by the government of the United States, by McNamara, the President of the United States himself, when he said, I don't give a GD if every one of those sailors get killed. We're not going to embarrass our ally. Now, we didn't know who was attacking us. No one did. So how did Johnson know? How did President Johnson know who was attacking us? You know why he knew? Because he was in on it. He was in on it to sink us, blame it on Egypt, and they'd have been nuked. And that was the deal, folks. And that's why I do this radio show, to make sure the truth gets out and this doesn't happen. No false flags anymore, Israel. You're not going to false flag any more of our American ships or anybody else, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, like I don't control the world. No, I don't, but I do control this. You better watch out for Israel because they are dirty-handed. I got one more thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to get back to my very special guest. But I am going to read her bio. It's very, very important. I want to read that. I want to say thank you to RBN, and also thank you, Sam. This is the first show you've done, and I know you're going to do a fine job. I appreciate you doing the show for us, and don't worry about any mistakes or anything like that. We'll work through them. But I want to thank John Statmiller personally. John has given me the chance, and the crew of the USS Liberty, to report murder on the high seas and the war crimes. Thank you, John Statmiller, and thank you, RBN, for giving the Liberty survivors a voice that people can hear. What a noble thing you do for America. What a very noble thing you do for America, and I appreciate it very, very deeply, as do my shipmates. You rank high, very high, on my scale, and I'm sure you do on most people's scale. Maybe not all of them, but who's perfect? None of us are. So let's just keep this going. And, RBN has a pledge drive going. So if you got a few bucks, send them to them. Just go to republicbroadcasting.org, republicbroadcasting.org. Send in your pledge. Let's make this great RBN station even better than it is. How we can do that, I don't know, but we can always try. And remember, folks, we on RBN Studio B for 2 hours. RBN Studio B. Now, I want to get to my guest, but I got to get to her bio first, and I will do that now. Now, I want to read this, and it's going to take a little bit, not a whole lot, but first of all, I want to mention that Virginia has a beautiful book out, a beautiful, wonderful book. It's Population Politics. You go to this, www.jaywanson.us/page 58.htm. Now, I believe that is correct. If I'm not, I know Virginia will get me straightened out on that. But I also want to make sure that everybody knows that Virginia is a professor Emeritus of Psychiatry and Anthropology. Here comes our break. Support your sponsors, folks. I'll be right back. We'll finish this up, and we'll get to our very, very special guest, Virginia Abernethy. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
How would you like to own land? A refuge to escape from big cities, possible food shortages, the collapse of the dollar, or just a vacation trip is now available to you. Lots of fishing and hunting are available just across the Rio Grande River. Own your personal Colorado Wilderness RV lot within 3 stones throw of the Rio Grande River for $1,395. Quarter-acre lots, county road access, All lots come with warranty deed. All just for $1,395. Call 785-672-3141. 785-672-3141. Or go online to ColoradoRiverLots.com for more information and to see photos. It is away from civilization, a good business investment, and a low-cost protection plan. Call today, 785-672-3141.
Meet Jerry D.
Hi.
Jerry and his family, like you, are very concerned about world conditions and have gathered many emergency preparedness items, including turtle tough shelters.
We have added 2 24-foot turtle tufts to our supplies and feel very secure knowing our large family is ready for whatever the future may bring.
Turtle tough shelters are not tents. They are permanent yet portable 4-season geodesic frame shelters that are as strong as a cabin at a fraction of the cost and are easy to set up, take down, and move anywhere. Available in 2 sizes. Get your Turtle Tough shelter and accessories included at TurtleToughShelters.com. That's Turtle, T-U-F-F Shelters.com. Or call 801-623-3288. That's 801-623-3288. Or see them online at TurtleToughShelters.com. Turtle Tough Shelters, your all-season home away from home.
Hey there, my name is Frank Bates. What I'm about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could get me in a lot of trouble. I just created a free video presentation at 123crooks.com that exposes the electricity monopolies and government agencies for what they really are. Incompetent, lying crooks that are counting on your ignorance and fear to keep your power bills criminally high. Some have called this a conspiracy. Others have called it a cover-up. And you'll be shocked to find out how deep the conspiracy goes. My video at 123crooks.com exposes the truth and shows you the secret of how I beat them and how you can beat them too. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in the last 3 months. Go to 123crooks.com and discover one weird trick to slash your power bill and protect your home. Go watch my video now at 123crooks.com before they force me to shut it down. 123crooks.com.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. Thank you for listening in, especially on this great radio station, RBN. Now, listen, I'm going to read this, and I'm not very good. I butcher the American language pretty well. So, folks, bear with me, and I'll get through this, and then we'll bring on our distinguished guest, our very honorable guest, Virginia Deane Abernethy. Virginia Deane Abernethy, MBA, PhD, electric. Electric describes better than any degree book or article the news commentary on this website. Its origin could well be history lessons absorbed at my first school, Northlands, the highly regarded British school in Olivias, Buenos Aires. Afternoon classes taught in Spanish features Las Malvinas Islands, known in the morning classes as the Falklands. Is this discrepancy not a fine introduction to self-interest, truth, and power? ? Born in Cuba and raised there, Argentina, and New York City, I retired as a professor Emeritus of Psychiatry, Anthropology at the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. I remain an active fellow of the American Association at the Advancement of Science, that's AAAS. For 10 years, until 1999, I edited the academic journal, Population and Environment. Publications include Population, Pressure, and Cultural Adjustment, which introduced the fertility opportunity hypothesis. Population Politics, which updates the hypothesis and adds the bulk of supporting data. Excuse me. And academic and popular articles. Harvard University, PhD, Vanderbilt University, MBA, Wesley College, BA, Riverdale County School, PS 81, and Northlands deserve due credit, but are not responsible for anything here to which they would object. My business as a scientist to notice the patterns that may lead eventually to the hypothesis. The fertility opportunity hypothesis is the result of noticing that people welcome a larger family size when an economic opportunity appears to be expanding. And we'll get into that when Virginia gets on. On the contrary, perception of stagnant, contracting, or very competitive economic conditions leads to limiting family size. Much cross-cultural and historic data support the explanation of this casualty. For example, the average native-born American perceives a competitive economic climate within which prospects have been declining for approximately 30 years. Therefore, the hypothesis predicts that Americans should prefer a small size. In fact, white women average well below 2 children each, and black women barely more, even approximately replacement level fertility, 2.1 children per woman. Okay, only here. Fertility, okay. Fertility rates of Mexican immigrants of the United States have been well studied, and in fact, the average size is 3 or 4 children, much larger than Americans and larger than compatriots remaining in Mexico. Interest includes geopolitics, especially the domestic and world economy and immigration policy. Debates on these issues are usually enjoyable. Gentleman William Buckley made memorial and appearance on the firing line, where I debated the late Robert Bartley, open borders advocate, and then editor of the Wall Street Journal. Wow. Volunteer activities, the principality board membership of the 501c3 organization, Population Environment Balance and Caring Capacity Network. I am the editorial advisory board of the Occidental Quarterly and the Occidental Observer. The desultory fashion I bird and garden, mostly taking time to admire the beauty and marvel of nature. One of the practices, electric methods of science. Choosing, selecting from various systems and doctrines. Well, listen, I kind of butchered that. I apologize, but Virginia, what a wonderful thing you've been to this great earth, and the education you have. Thank you for bringing on Your Voice Council, and I apologize for all the mistakes, but thank you again for being on board. Please go ahead.
Well, I'm pleased to be here talking with you. That was a very heroic reading, by the way.
Well, oh boy, thank you. Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate that.
Oh, that was splendid.
Well, thank you, dear.
Well, I can say I still do a lot of what I used to do. I sit on the patio. I watch the birds and the bees molest the flowers. How is that?
Virginia, we're going to go to a break in just a couple seconds, and then we got about an 18-minute run, and then we'll go from there and bring Ron Kukal into it. And thank you for not giving me too much of a hard time on my version of your great accomplishments. Go ahead, please.
There were too many errors and too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late for liberty.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Are you concerned about fluoride, chlorine, parasites, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Dalton ceramic water filters have been made continuously since 1827 and are used by disaster relief organizations and in third world countries to supply safe drinking water. Not only do we offer gravity filter systems, but also under-the-sink and countertop systems. Our replacement filters can be used to upgrade your existing system. And, unlike some other filters on the market, Dolton filters do not have to be primed. For more information, call us at 800-696-1435, 800-696-1435, or order online at Dolton.com. That's DOULTON.com.
Herbal Healer Academy's new summer specials. Our 500 parts per million colloidal silver, all sizes on sale. Organic liquid iodine, liquid cal, mag, vitamin D, CoQ10 with hawthorn, colon enhancer, Super 2, natural laxative. Our exceptional product Connexin, memory power, and super male and femplex. All on sale for the summer at herbalhealer.com. Also, 10% off on the HHA Survival Course. This is an important time to have this information. Might save your life. Nation's leader in supplying quality natural medicine and education. herbalhealer.com. Free online newsletter. Quality natural medicine supplier since 1988. We ship the same day you place your order. Free 128-page catalog with your first order. Go to herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com.
In an emergency situation, would you drink contaminated water? You could if you have the amazing LifeStraw from MyPatriotSupply.com. LifeStraw is the most advanced personal water filter available today. It filters contaminated water from almost any source. LifeStraw is lightweight and compact, perfect for hiking, camping, or in an emergency like a flood. LifeStraw is easy to clean, comes with a 1-year warranty, and has been used worldwide since 2005. Get the amazing LifeStraw personal water filter at MyPatriotSupply.com. Plus, check out Survival Seed Vault, 20 seed varieties for only $37.95, Tatler canning lids, long-term storable foods as low as $69.95, and much more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Enjoy stress-free shipping on all orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927 or visit MyPatriotSupply.com. That's 866-229-0927. MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington sends out a message that the ship moved farther out to sea. There were too many
Welcome aboard, folks. Here we go for a good long run with my very, very special guest, Virginia Deane Abernethy. Virginia, I wanted to say one thing before you go on. After you go ahead and do what you want to do, I want to bring on, of course, my co-host. He's biting at the bit because he wants to talk to you. A very dear friend of yours and mine and shipmate, Ron Kukal. So please go ahead, Virginia.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on with you. And I will be delighted to speak with Ron. I saw him just about 3 months ago when I was in Wyoming, and we had a nice coffee together.
Outstanding, Virginia. What brings you to Your Voice Counts tonight, and what would you like to get across to our listeners, please?
Well, I completely agree with your position that the attack on the Liberty was a false flag attack intended to bring the United States into a war where we had no business and no interest. And I'm afraid that that has been the case with several of our wars, more than I like to think about. I just regard it as a tragedy. I don't like to see our American men, mostly men and also women, maimed and killed. It's a tragedy that every American should feel. And these are not our national interests involved when we get into wars in the Middle East. So,
Virginia,
go on.
I just wanted to say, you said something so profound. In the Middle East, And it seems like that's where the trouble is and has been for so many years. And I've been saying for so long that if the USS Liberty massacre, slaughter would have been taken care of properly as it should have been 45 plus years ago, we wouldn't be in the position we are right now, fighting in Afghanistan, still have people in Iraq, and Netanyahu begging to get us in a war with Iran and Syria. What are your thoughts on that, Virginia?
Well, I think you're right. Right now, Netanyahu is having a hissy fit because Americans won't go and fight another war, attacking Iran or backing up Israel when Israel attacks Iran, and he's just fulminating and spouting off steam. I'm not even sure that every Israeli agrees with him. There seems to be more dissent in Israel and more of a free press there sometimes, I think, than in the United States, where our media are controlled by 5 or 6 principal outlets, and most Americans hear only one voice coming from 5 or 6 networks. And it's a tragedy because it is not in the U.S. interest to go and fight wars. A lot of people said that we attacked Iraq for oil. Well, that war has cost us so many men dead or damaged, and it has cost us so many billions of dollars. You remember, it was promised to cost less than $250 billion, which is a lot, but that was to be the maximum. But now it's about a trillion, and if you consider the downstream costs of our injured people, it's going to be $2 trillion. Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And Ron Kukal, my respected friend and shipmate, sir, please come on board and talk to Virginia.
Hi, Ron.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, Virginia. I'd like to know if you're hearing me okay.
I'm hearing you fine. If my phone starts to ping, I'm going to have to run, and it will be because my battery is running low, and I'm going to have to change phones.
Oh, that's fine. We'll fill in for you. Yeah, Phil wanted me to mention a couple of things tonight, Virginia, and then I also want to mention that I wonder how I would have done with your bio had I done this show by myself tonight. I was one of those guys, especially in high school, the principal constantly had in there saying you're not working up to your standards. Good thing I joined the Navy. They straightened me out quick. But Virginia does have a sense of humor, and if I have a couple of minutes to get that into that, I'll do that. Phil's asked me to mention a couple of things that I have not wanted to mention for quite a while. I haven't made it a big issue. I didn't want to cause any ill feelings between myself and men that worked in the engineering division of the ship and ship's company. But Phil has insisted on this because he's the kind of guy he is. Talking about the credibility of some of the people that are on this show, and talking about some of the communications technicians that worked with me, and speaking of people like Ernie Gallo and a few others, what's the credibility of these people? And I want to bring that up tonight and say this as quickly as I can, because I end up talking about myself. It's not what I like to do. But the CTs, communications technicians, men who worked in the Navy at that time, I don't think there were any women in there at the time, but there is now, were some of the most respected and sought after and considered the cream of the crop type of people that there were. We were the most trusted by the United States government, all carrying a top secret clearance. So I don't know how far Phil wants me to go with this, but when we got a top secret clearance back then, they went into your background. I had heard as far back as 2 generations, which is quite a ways. But I do know that they knew that my grandmother lived in Prague, and they knew a lot about her I didn't know. So yeah, they did go into your background a long ways. And it's really painful to me to hear some people, renowned people, supposedly intelligent people, will take the time to call you a name or two just because you tell them the truth. That's a pretty painful thing for me, and I'm sure it's pretty painful for Phil, because we are only talking about what about 20-some VIPs of that era have already talked about. And I quote former Secretary of State Dean Rusk, I believe it's on page 188 of his book, as I saw it. He said, and I quote, "I didn't believe the Israelis then, and I don't believe them now." This was a serious, I don't want to use the word serious, but he did say he didn't believe them then, he doesn't believe them now. Of course, Secretary of Dean Rusk is gone now, but what I'm trying to bring home here tonight, is, as best I can, is that the people that come on this show, not just me, but the communications technicians and the people that back them up, like Professor Abernethy, the credibility, I defy you, anybody, to put this in the ground, because you just can't. There's just no way it can happen. So, Virginia, it was a great time having coffee with you. What was it, been about 3 months ago? And Virginia's got a great sense of humor. The time that I met her before that, she asked me to come out to the Bighorn Canyon Ranch out here outside of Sheridan and walk with her along the foot of the Bighorns. And I was just absolutely flabbergasted to go out there, and being out at the Bighorn Canyon Ranch was a bit over my head, but we took the walk, and when we got back, I said I was really excited that we got to talk and such as that, and she said, "Well, Ron, I was glad to have you along. I needed a shield from the mountain lions and the bears and such as that, you know." And I thought, well, there's a gal with a sense of humor, and
oh, but it's true. There are lions out there.
Okay. I'm sorry, Virginia. I laid it on you pretty thick there. But let me say just a couple of words, and then I'll quit for a minute. But when I met her 3 months ago here at the Java Moon, we sat down and had coffee, and when she walked out the door, I wondered to myself, what the heck would it be like to hug a professor? And so I asked her if it'd be all right, and she said, yeah, it's just fine. And I tell you what, it's great to hug a professor. I don't think any of that brain power wore off onto me, but, you know, you can always hope.
Okay, listen, Ron, I'm going to ask you, did you ever hug your high school teacher?
No, I think that there was a couple of them I wanted to, yeah. But,
oh, well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, you know, without taking up a lot of your time, Virginia, I want to just say one more thing about the USS Liberty, and I know you got some things you want to say. Today I read in the USS Liberty newsletter that there was a proclamation issued by, I believe it was by the state of Iowa, honoring the men that served and the men that died aboard the Liberty. This was, I guess, dated sometime this year. I forgot what the date was. But these proclamations, I just want the people that was reading this newsletter or know about this proclamation. They're not new. Phil Tourney got the very first proclamation from the governor of Colorado many, many years ago. I followed suit, getting a few more, and one of them was from the state of Texas. If you just allow me to read this, and I'm going to get off here. This is from the official memorandum from the state of Texas, Office of the Governor. June 8th marks the anniversary of an attack in 1967 by foreign air and naval forces upon the USS Liberty, a U.S. naval vessel operating under orders of the United States. The extraordinary valor of the USS Liberty's commanding officer, Captain William L. McGonigal, while seriously wounded and under fire, inspired the surviving crew members, many of whom were also seriously wounded, to heroic efforts to overcome the battle damage and keep the ship afloat. It is appropriate to recognize the 34 Americans killed and 171 wounded aboard the USS Liberty while serving the United States. The 87th National Convention of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States has resolved that a fitting memorial be established by the United States to honor those men lost in the U.S. Liberty while in the service of our country. Therefore, I, William P. Clements, Jr., Governor of Texas, do hereby designate June 8, 1989 as USS Liberty Memorial Day. So, yeah, we got some new proclamations, but I want to tell you back when they were tough to get, Phil Tourney got the very first one from the governor of Colorado, and would I be saying Romer? Is that right, Phil? Would that be right?
It would be right. It would be right, Ron.
Man, I haven't lost it yet. Okay, I'm gonna lay off of this, but I'm hoping some of our crew members are listening tonight, because these proclamations are not new, and there's plenty of them from California, Texas, state of Nebraska, state of Wyoming, state of Colorado. There's a lot of them. So this is nothing new. I just read one that's, what did I say, 23 years old. And enough said for me tonight. If it sounds like I'm pounding back at some of these people, I am a little bit. But this is Virginia's show tonight, so I'm going to get back. I'm going to just sit back and listen to what she's got to say. Okay, Phil?
Well, I have a question.
But don't go anywhere.
I have a question. Why is it that I run into so many people who say, but Israel, my heart just pounds and flutters when I think of Israel? What goes with people like that? Why don't they realize that can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I can. That's fine.
Why don't they realize that the Israel that's mentioned in the Bible is not the Israel of today? These are two different things.
Absolutely correct. Yes, go ahead, Bridget.
And yet there are so many people who have a knee-jerk reaction that they've got to support Israel, and they feel an emotional bond to it, and yet they've never been there. They have no relatives there. They don't probably know any Israelis, and they never even would have thought of Israel until 10 or 15 years ago. And all of a sudden we've got this enormous loyalty to Israel. What is the reason?
Well, I have that loyalty myself, but it's not for this new man-made Israel with man-made boundaries. The people that are controlling that, who are in power in Israel right now, I don't believe for one moment that they have any connection with the Jewish people of back then, the Israelites. And, of course, this is just my personal opinion, but, yeah, I have a connection myself, but not with the modern Israel of today.
That's right. They're different things, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm looking at the original Israelites who were described, even in the Bible, they were described as dark-skinned. I don't see too many of them running the show over there right now. And like I said, we put the country there. We made the boundaries, and it's almost like we said, well, here you go, Lord. Here you go, God. We did this for you. Now you can just do whatever you want to do. In my personal opinion, as a former chaplain for the USS Liberty Veterans Association, God has never needed any help. He never needed any help keeping the Liberty afloat over 45 years ago. Not one bit of human help did he need. So if they want to go over there and if they want to say their heart goes pitter-patter for this Israel, have at it. The Bible says otherwise. So I'll back away from that. That's where
there are two different things, I think. One existed 2,000-3,000 years ago, and the other one didn't exist till, I think, 1947. And you know why it was that the United States recognized Israel so fast? Rabbis came to Harry S. Truman when he was President of the United States and was running a very, very difficult campaign, and they said, okay, here's $2 million for your campaign. Recognize Israel. And this is attested to by Gore Vidal, and you know Gore Vidal has written many histories and novels.
Professor, we got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds left. Go ahead when the music sounds.
So my reference is Gore Vidal, who says that Harry Truman got $2 million to recognize Israel. Finish.
Okay, folks, remember, support your sponsors on RBN. Please do that. That's what keeps us going. Appreciate it. See you in just a few. Thank you for listening.
I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutria-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
I never thought I would experience what I have by being on the RNA drops. Since I started the drops, I've gotten married, started 3 businesses, and feel limitless. My name is Brandon, and I've always been a skeptic because one of my companies is an investment firm, so we look at the facts. I was presented a bottle of RNA drops without any documentation in 2010 and began taking them due to highly reliable sources and their recommendations, and things quickly progressed. My life seemed brighter, and then one day it happened. I was working in my office on a sunny morning, and my spiritual body did a 360-degree backflip and softly landed back in my chair. And that was the day it began. That was my bread of life. To view this patented product, go to freernanow.com. That's freernanow.com and begin your ascension process. God bless.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the Liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you for listening to RBN. Your voice counts, and thank you, Kat, for your beautiful, beautiful voice. And I wanted to run this by both of you two people for a moment. I read today on the internet, and it seems to be very credible and honest, that the United States over the past 2 or 3 years has given Israel more aid, military aid, than our own country has spent on our own armed forces. Also, the problem that just tugs at my heartstrings is day after day our American dollars are spent in helping 1.7 million people plus living in hell in a self-made concentration camp in land that belongs to the Palestinians, and the Israelis are stealing, as we speak, every inch of it right now. Who would like to take that on?
Well, hello. Am I still audible?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, well, of course. The UN ended up awarding 78% of Palestine to Israel. I think they'd originally planned on making it a 50-50 split, but when Harry S. Truman suddenly recognized Israel and actually telephoned our ambassador at the UN that he was recognizing it, quite to the surprise of his own State Department, General Marshall, who advised against it, and James Forrestal, who was the first Secretary of Defense. There was a tremendous shock, and that is how Israel ended up with 78% instead of the 50% that had been originally planned by the UN. And really, we wonder why they had to get 50%. The Palestinians were living there. They had lived there for many, many, many centuries. And what was the entitlement? Actually, the enterprise to create Israel or a Zionist homeland somewhere had originally focused on Argentina. That was around 1900, 1910. And a tremendous, many millions, I think 40 million, but don't quote me on that, had been donated in order to move Jews to Argentina, which was to be the new Israel. How they focused on Palestine, how that became their national home, I guess goes back to events in World War I. Certain Zionist bankers were promised a special access to Palestine in return for loaning money to Great Britain to continue fighting World War I. So it goes way back. But it's certainly not the biblical Israel that we read about, that we think about, to which we have great affection, as described in the Bible. Different things altogether.
Absolutely. I agree 100%, Virginia. We'll be right back in just a few moments, folks. Remember, support your sponsors at RBN, and support them vigorously. They're who keeps this great show on for all of the great hosts and the guests on this show. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, and thank you, Sam. You're doing a good job.
And too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late for liberty.
The next
The time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew, and the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying man. The men in their lives betrayed, and their souls were surely damned, and all the fear and the death and the pain.
Welcome aboard, folks. Here we go for the second hour of Your Voice Counts, and I want to thank you very much for, taking the time to listen in. If you want to call in, there's, a call-in number. You can do that. I think you do have it, and I'll give it to you again if you'd like. It is 877-488-5350. And I wanted, oh, she has dropped. Okay, well, we will be back in just a minute with Virginia. But I wanted to hang on with Ron here and let people know that aboard the USS Liberty, there was approximately 2/3 of the crew were a National Security Agency men. That the ship's crew was, our job was devoted to make sure that these fine men could do their job in a very timely and aggressive manner. So our job was to cater to them, and so they could get their job done, and we did that. And I still can't get it through my mind, and it's been 45 years plus, that we've had one of the most sophisticated spy ships in the world to be abandoned by the United States of America. And Virginia, I know you're back on now. What I asked Ron Kukal was, and I'll ask you too, 2/3 of the crew of the USS Liberty were communication technicians, the most trusted men in Americans' history, aboard the most sophisticated spy ship in the world. Why in God's green earth, Virginia, Ron, forget about the rest of the crew? Why would they do that to these men that have sworn an oath to die for their country, as we did too, of course, but I wasn't privy to anything other than, ship fitting and damage control. But why would our government order or help order attack or be complicit conspirators to sink a United States naval ship on the high seas, doing what the Joint Chiefs of Naval Staffs told us to do, and the National Security Agency? Either one of you can answer that, and I don't know if Virginia heard everything. I hope you did, Virginia.
Well,
welcome back.
I've heard enough. Why don't you go first, Ron?
Well, I think I've probably already gone over this, probably to the point where I feel like at times that I go over it too much, but when Phil reminded me that it's important that this be brought out, it's important that, even though I'm talking about myself, it's important to know that the United States Navy considered us the elite of the United States, of that part of the military unit that we worked in, and I have trouble with words here, Phil, because it brings attention to myself. I don't like it, but
Here comes the music, Ron. We'll get back and we'll finish this off with, just think about it a few minutes, folks. Support your sponsors, RBN. I'm glad Virginia's back.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
How would you like to own land? A refuge to escape from big cities, possible food shortages, The collapse of the dollar, or just a vacation trip, is now available to you. Lots of fishing and hunting are available just across the Rio Grande River. Own your personal Colorado Wilderness RV lot within 3 stones throw of the Rio Grande River for $1,395. Quarter-acre lots. County road access. All lots come with warranty deed. All just for $1,395. Call 785-672-3141. 785-672-3141. Or go online to ColoradoRiverLots.com for more information and to see photos. It is away from civilization, a good business investment, and a low-cost protection plan. Call today, 785-672-3141.
I never thought I would experience what I have by being on the RNA drops. Since I started the drops, I've gotten married, started 3 businesses, and feel limitless. My name is Brandon, and I've always been a skeptic because one of my companies is an investment firm, so we look at the facts. I was presented a bottle of RNA drops without any documentation in 2010 and began taking them due to highly reliable sources and their recommendations, and things quickly progressed. My life seemed brighter, and then one day it happened. I was working in my office on a sunny morning, and my spiritual body did a 360-degree backflip and softly landed back in my chair. And that was the day it began. That was my bread of life. To view this patented product, go to freernanow.com. That's freernanow.com and begin your ascension process. God bless.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington sends out a message.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go. Your voice counts, and I'm really hate cutting Kat off because of a beautiful, beautiful voice. But you can go to Songs USS Liberty, get her songs, and read what she's got to say. But I thought about this during the break, and I've thought about this more than once. And both of you can interject on my thoughts, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm half right. If I'm half right, I'm half happy. But I think the USS Liberty, because we did have another spy ship in the air, the Valdez. Excuse me. Yeah, it was the Valdez, I believe, Ron. If you can help me here, but the bigger bang for the buck was to kill all Americans aboard that ship, and especially the communication technicians. Now, I don't know how much money they spent on you guys or us, but the information that you gathered, Ron, and you don't have to give any sensitive or classified information away, but we certainly, as the Israelis said, we certainly wasn't giving any information to any Arab states. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think there was any truth to that whatsoever. You know, I had a little bit of time to think about this, and you say, why did this happen? And I've tried to explain this for the many years that I was chaplain for the Liberty Veterans Association, and the time that I spent with families of these men that died, were killed. And I remember some of them so very well. I believe one of them, Mrs. Goss. I can't remember her first name anymore.
I wouldn't say killed, Ron. They were murdered.
Right. But anyway, that's true. And I had to sit with these mothers of these men. And I hope there's a lot of mothers listening here tonight, and there probably are a few. I sat with these mothers who asked me, why would our own country do this to us? And I had no answer. Even to this day, I don't have an answer. There's a lot of things that are...
A complete betrayal, because we have always been taught that every American life was of great, great value. It's certainly the communications technicians, but every man in that ship, an American. And we were taught, we are still taught, that every American life is of great value. I regard it as as a distortion of everything we have been taught as patriots, that the military or our government would throw away our servicemen's lives, all of them, and they were throwing them away. It's a huge betrayal, and I think it has to be thought of as a betrayal, and I don't think it's the first time, or it probably won't be the last. Every time men and women go off to an unnecessary war, any war that is not for the absolute interest of the United States, it's a betrayal of our trust. I resent it.
Virginia, very well put, very well put. And I want to ask you a question. As you say this on the radio, would you ever teach a class on American betrayal? And of course, this isn't the first time, but have you ever considered that?
Well, I'm well past teaching. I dodder around now, you know.
Okay.
I retired many, many years ago. But it is an issue that would just go against everything we're taught as our practically national patriotic religion, because we do have a national ideology about who we are and what we are, and we value life, and we especially value American life. But when you look at the facts, it isn't true. And that's very upsetting and very hard to face.
Go ahead, Ron.
The betrayal that you're talking about, you've got me to thinking, and the more I think about it, I think about the excellent, absolutely superb training that we received. I want to interject one quick thought before I go any further. I still harbor a lot of anger. 3/4 of my anger is my lost shipmates. 1/4 of that anger comes from the fact that I was cheated, absolutely violated as far as I'm concerned. Lost my chance to make a life for myself, go to officer candidate school. I wanted to be an officer more than anything in this world. And 3/4 of my anger comes from the fact that they turned their back on us, and 1/4 of it is they ruined my life. I don't have a lot of use for that. The training, the superb training we received as enlisted men, and the chance that we had to become an officer, all you had to do is straighten up your act, and boy, I needed mine straightened up, and they did it to me in 9 weeks. But once it was done, those opportunities were fantastic in the United States Navy, and yet the people look back and they say, "Oh my God, I can remember. I remember our ideals. What in the H has happened to our ideals? What has happened to our morals? Why is it okay to lie? Why does Congress lie on a regular basis? What has happened to this country, and how in God's name can we survive?" Somebody needs to answer that for me, because I don't think we can.
We're on a very thin edge. And I don't know who's led us into this and why we allowed ourselves to be led into it. But that's the truth. And things right now are extremely dangerous for every American. And it's a terrible feeling as well to think that there is no reason to be as patriotic as we were taught to be, and we want to be. We want to be if our government was square with us. But what happened to the Liberty is just an example of how the government is not square with us. It's very, very disturbing. It's tragic, actually. If you were brought up the way I was brought up, and you too, we can't trust them not to kill us, which is essentially what they did to you. They colluded in the murder of your shipmates. And here I am complaining that they lie all the time. Well, that's trivial, but all the lies over time, they add up. It makes us wonder who we are and what the country is coming to. Why do you suppose people still enlist? Is it because nobody else sees things quite the way we do, talking to each other on this program? Why do people feel in that?
No, I don't
Virginia,
think
I wanted to bring up something very because very pointed. You said, why do people enlist? My son enlisted in the United States Army 6 years ago. He went to Afghanistan for 13 months. Well, first he went to Korea. Then he went to Afghanistan. Then he spent almost 15 months in a Wounded Warrior program just so he could function to get out of the Army. They discharged him out of the Army, and he knew what happened to the USS Liberty, but he still wanted to enlist for the red, white, and blue. But what good did it? What good did it do him? Not one bit of good. And
for the country.
Yeah, for the country, and he loves his country. And he's, he's not the same human being. I'm not the same human being. Anybody that goes through combat aren't. But, it's just, I read this article today, the staff sergeant in the Army, he was in Special Forces, and he was wondering why they would send these men out on patrol when they were, losing a guy a day, losing these limbs. And he sent this to a congressman, the oldest Republican congressman in the Senate. I forget his name. And only a few weeks later, after that, this young man was blown to bits and killed. So here we are in Afghanistan and Iraq, probably going into Iran, and they're all getting killed for who? All for the government of Israel. And everybody that doesn't know that, they better get off their butts and do a little reading and figure out who's running this country. It certainly isn't the government of the United States. It's AIPAC, ADL, and the money they own. That's my verse.
Well, you don't hear me disagreeing with you.
Well, I thank you for that, and I thought I would. How about you, Mr. Kukal?
I agree with you 100%. When you were talking about that, enlisting for the red, white, and blue, that's probably our biggest, if you want to call it, problem. We are dedicated. We did love this country. We still love this country. We saw it for what it was. I felt that I lived some of the best years that this country had to offer in the 50s. I really did. And there's still that dedication there. Pick up on the latest video on the USS Liberty attack that has the battle hymn of the Republic in the background. Any true red-blooded American could watch this video and would have to bring tears to their eyes. If it didn't, then I don't know who they are. And actually, nowadays, I'm not sure who the American people are. Apathetic is all I can think of.
Ron, you have to go, you have to look back at how we're brainwashed, and I think Virginia can go on that better than I can. Here comes the music. Sorry, folks. Virginia, we're going to get your opinion on how the people can be brainwashed into war. Support your sponsors on RBN. Thank you.
If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself from anything out of balance concerning cardiovascular or diabetic circulation problems, then this might be the most important ad you'll ever hear. It is possible to acquire a 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation, which works. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. For a long and healthy life, order today by calling 866-295-5305. 866-295-5305. A healthy heart is a happy heart. Order online at heartandbody.com. That's heartandbody.com.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TERRAVIM.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
A healthy heart starts with Extendovite. I've always believed that I had to have a strong defense to overcome the new superbugs of today. Extendovite, a 7-herb heart protection cocktail, not only helped me to overcome a massive heart attack, but it also has built up my natural immune defenses against colds and flus. Extendovite has so many benefits that we all should be taking Extendovite to build up our defenses for what superbugs might emerge yet. So start today, clean out the toxins, and be as healthy as you can be. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the Liberty's true identity.
Dear Kat, thank you for your beautiful music. I'm sorry to cut you off there, hon, but we have a couple callers, and you know, when people call in, we want to get them in for sure. And I'll tell you what, folks, my two dear friends that are on the phone right now, I can guarantee you we love America very, very much, not more than anybody else or no less. But we're willing to put our butts on the line and tell people about it and why we love America. So with no further ado, I'd like to bring up our first caller, David. Please come up. And we have one more, Anthony from California. Come on up, David.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah, Phil Tourney here. How you doing, David?
Oh, my God, I'm honored to be here. I mean, I love you guys. I love Ron Kukal. You guys, to me, are my heroes. You represent the best of what this country has ever created. To me, like I said, you guys are really the backbone of democracy. And so I'm ecstatic to be here.
Well, thank you. And please say hello to our very, very special honored guest, Mrs. Virginia Abernethy.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was listening to Virginia in the last few minutes, and Virginia is a unique person on herself. She is also what represents the best of America. And I agree with her 100% in everything she was saying about what was going on with our country, what's been going on as far as the USS Liberty is concerned. And she has a very good understanding about what the changes that's been going on in America and what the things that we need to do possibly to bring it back.
Virginia, go ahead.
Oh, well, just when the ads came on, we were discussing why people are so willing to believe, how they're so easily brainwashed. I think Ron used the word brainwashed, and I gave it some thought. I think there are at least three things that I can think of. One is that we have been dumbed down as a society. The schools have done it. This sense of always having to be entertained with TV or movies or sports or something that takes our minds off the present. So in a way, we've been dumbed down, and we all listen to the same things, hear the same things, and don't think for ourselves. Then there's another element. You make people afraid. Sometimes it takes a really big shock to make people afraid. For example, the people who wanted us to attack the Middle East in around 1999, 2000, they said it would take a new Pearl Harbor. Well, we got it. And that was the World Trade Center attack. We got the new Pearl Harbor that made everybody afraid and ready to fight somebody. And then you identify who they want you to fight, and they start trashing them with news stories. And there's something very subtle that happens. They give them a name that makes them seem less than human. And in the case of the Afghanis, before we attacked Afghanistan, they were called cowl heads. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And so first you dumb down people so they don't think for themselves, and then you make them afraid, and then you target the enemy, or who they, quote, they want you to think of as the enemy, and they dehumanize them.
Well, Virginia,
so that's about all I have to contribute on how on the process of getting people brainwashed.
And you're absolutely right. This is not something new. This dates back actually to the days pre-Egyptian. But to go closer to our days, basically, we go to the books of a French writer, a psychologist, a social psychologist called Frantz Fanon. He had a book called The Wretched of the Earth, and he understood that the way that the white man, particularly in those days in Africa, colonized the African race was by basically making them understand that they were powerless. They were powerless in society, so therefore that man went home and he beat his wife, he beat his kids, because that's the only place where they found power. But this is not, it dates back even prior to this. And again, we go back now another 200 years to Spain, when they used to have a theory called, in Spanish, baile, botella, and baraja, which what that means is basically dance, bottle, which is alcohol, and baraja, which means basically gambling. Give people gambling, give people dance, and give people alcohol, and that way they won't consider, they won't even be involved in the political process, and that way you could dominate society. So this is something that goes back many, many ages, and basically the Israelites, the Jews, are experts at this. They developed this even prior to the days of Egypt because they needed something to maintain their people as a one unit, as a spirit de corps, if you might say. And what they did for that was they basically wrote a book, which they called their Torah, which indicated that not only were they the superior race, were they the race created by God, but everybody else was basically inferior to them, and if any way, shape, or form...
David, yes. Hold that thought. We're going to go into a break, folks,
sure.
And we've got a good 18-minute run. So remember RBN, and remember their pledge drive, and, support the sponsors on RBN. Best people in the world.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling, and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
Are you prepared? Are you ready? You should be. CampingSurvival.com is your source for camping supplies, survival gear, and survival food. Whether you are an emergency preparedness-minded individual interested in MRE and colloidal silver, a hardcore hiker in need of paracord, a water filter system, and fire piston, or just need a basic first aid kit or emergency kit for the family, CampingSurvival.com is the right place. Call CampingSurvival.com today. Toll free 800-537-1339. CampingSurvival.com. It's not about the end of the world. It's not about surviving a hypothetical plane crash. It's about the satisfaction you get knowing you can take care of yourself and or your family in any situation, anytime, anywhere. Call now. 800-537-1339.
Meet Jerry D.
Hi.
Jerry and his family, like you, are very concerned about world conditions and have gathered many emergency preparedness items, including turtle tough shelters.
We have added 2 24-foot turtle tufts to our supplies and feel very secure knowing our large family is ready for whatever the future may bring.
Turtle tough shelters are not tents. They are permanent yet portable 4-season geodesic frame shelters that are as strong as a cabin at a fraction of the cost and are easy to set up, take down, and move anywhere. Available in 2 sizes. Get your Turtle Tough shelter and accessories included at TurtleToughShelters.com. That's Turtle, T-U-F-F Shelters.com. Or call 801-623-3288. That's 801-623-3288. Or see them online at TurtleToughShelters.com. Turtle Tough Shelters, your all-season home away from home.
Well, the time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to.
Thank you, my dear Kat, for your beautiful, beautiful voice. And yes, the story shall be told, and it will be told one way or the other. And I wanted to, you know, as David left off, he had a couple things that, well, several things that come into my mind. Film, booze, gambling, pornography, and who owns Congress. And I can come up with one word, and I would like your opinion on that. Anybody can pick that one up.
Are you talking to me, Phil? I have a problem with my phone here. I'm not sure.
I'm talking to all three of you.
Okay.
But we're getting lots of interference.
Yeah. Okay. I'll repeat that.
Well, I heard it, but I still said I could hear it, but we were getting lots of interference. Maybe it's better now.
I heard it too, Virginia. Who wants to pick up on that?
Well, you know, I would like to, complete the statement I was trying to make before, and that is that this is not new. This was actually developed by the Israelis many, many years ago. Like I said before, while they were basically a nomad nation, or roaming through the deserts, they needed some form of something to keep them together, a spirit de corps, if you might, and they developed basically a book that indicated that not only were they the chosen race, but anybody else who came into there was not allowed. David,
we're getting all kinds of feedback from your phone. I don't know what it is, but it's coming back.
Let me see if I could go closer to the base. Like I tried. I told Ron this morning that I was going to be traveling. So let me see if I can get a different phone here. Hold on a second.
All right, Virginia, while he's hanging on, let's go back to what I said. Film, booze, gambling, Congress, and pornography. Who owns it all?
Does it sound better now?
Yeah, hang on. I just wanted to ask Virginia a question. Yeah, it sounds better.
Sure.
Go ahead, Virginia.
Well, I don't know. I guess that fewer and fewer people are owning more and more of it. And I think the bankers, and I'm not going to call them bankers because your hometown banker is a fine person, but I'm talking about the biggest banks that are too big to fail, so that they're being bailed out by the government, which means the taxpayer. And I think more and more is being owned by just a very, very few elite, and they center on the banking, or bankster, in other words, gangster banker, banksters. The Federal Reserve would be the center of it. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Chase, J.P. Morgan Chase, a few other big ones like that. I think that they're beginning to control an amazing amount of this country.
Okay, so Virginia, what you're saying, we're going right back to the state of Israel.
Well, yes. When you consider who has been head of the Federal Reserve System for 20 years now, there certainly are connections. There's no question about that.
Okay, now listen, David. I know you're still on the line, but I have another guest that I'm not gonna take him off, because when people call in, we put him on, and it looks like we got. Oh boy, I lost it here. Who's up next?
Not a problem. I'm going to be a guest in your show later on. I just wanted. Virginia was asking a question there, how this evolved.
Who's up next? Okay, Anthony, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't see it there. Go ahead. Anthony, you still there? Okay, he must be gone. Let's go back to David. David, go ahead and finish up, and then we'll try to get another caller in here. We got one, James from L.A. So please go ahead.
I'll try to be real fast on here. What Virginia was talking about, I just try to go over it real quickly. It's almost impossible to decipher history in less than 5 seconds, but the fact is that this is not new. This is a tactic that the Israelites have been using for centuries over centuries. They create a book which actually creates them. They make their own book that makes them as basically the chosen one by God. And when the Roman Empire finally comes to power and they see that they cannot overcome the Roman Empire, then they create a new book of the New Testament which actually allows other people to come in. That's how Constantine, the empire, comes into this game, basically understanding that the Jews have developed a system that creates them and puts them together like a spirit de corps. It's like us in the Marine Corps or the Navy, something that holds them and blends them together, which is a religion. Constantine adopts this. But apart from all that, and Virginia mentioned the Federal Reserve and everything else. I'm very much an expert in that. Basically, I've been studying these guys for many, many years. Not only are they in charge of the disaster, the tragedy, the assault upon the USS Liberty, but they are also in charge of the biggest tragedy in this country, which is the Federal Reserve, or the USS, I would call it the USS Federal Reserve that stole the American dream. The American mortgage Ponzi scheme, which basically made sure that America's middle class lost any form, any which way and form that they had of owning a property now and in the future. I was one of the investigators that led the investigation in this country, leading to find out who exactly was behind this so-called mortgage fraud. And trust me, when she talked about the banksters, that is actually the real name that we have for them, the banksters. Because this
David, we're gonna bring you on another show. I know you're hooked up on our show. We got a lineup of callers, but what you say, and you're an expert on this. I mean, and we've got a lot of emails going back and forth, and I'll tell you what, buddy, I have to agree with you, and I don't want to cut you off. You can still listen, but we have, I think, Anthony back on. We have to get Anthony if he's there. Anthony, you there?
Hello.
Anthony, are you there? Go ahead, Anthony.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good.
A little time.
First of all, thank you, Virginia. Appreciate you're right on target, and the gentleman, Dave, he's right on it. We're talking about the Federal Reserve, and of course we got to talk about Alan Greenspan, super crook, right? And the fact is, he didn't even have a PhD when he got that job. But as she talked about Goldman Sachs. We got Rothschilds, who's at the top of it, and she mentioned J.P. Morgan Chase. I mean, this goes on and on. The financial crooks out of New York. I mean, the Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street. They know what they're doing. That's a tough area. Hey, they control the world. This is big bucks. All right, now, I also want to mention that the Mossad. You have to remember that the Mossad is everywhere, and they were working with the Kurds in the overthrow of Iraq. Now, is the Mossad working with the Kurds in Syria for the overthrow of Syria? So that goes on. And as you mentioned, security sells, right? I mean, let's face it. People, that's their agenda to sell security, and people, they jump to that. We have been dumbed down, and so now I want to mention this one book that's just and Virginia, if you can get this book, it's and maybe you already know about it. It's Jewish History, Jewish Religion by Israel Shahak.
Yes, I do know about it. I think perhaps if we're thinking of the same book, the introduction is written by Gore Vidal, I think, if it's the same book. And that's where Gore Vidal... You're
right. And also the Edward Said. Dr. Edward Said is also there.
Well, that I didn't know about that. I just read the chapter of Gore Vidal's, which is where he mentions that it was $2 million to Harry S. Truman that bought U.S. recognition of Israel. If it's the same book.
Yeah, and
by Gore Vidal, the introduction.
Yes, it is. It's a awakening, unbelievable awakening book. Of course, the other gentleman, Dave, talks about he didn't talk about talked about the Torah, not the Talmud. But let me read you can I read you just a few sentences out of this book?
Please do, and then we'll get another guest on.
Okay. And I also, shall I call back in to give you the dates? My friend in Hawaii called, let me know about the dates for the USS Liberty on Olelo. So I'll call back in after that. I'll just read this quick thing, what it says here.
Sure.
Israel expansionism. The main danger which Israel as a Jewish state poses to its own people, to other Jews and its two neighbors. It is ideologically motivated pursuit of territorial expansion and an inevitable series of wars resulting from this aim. The more Israel becomes Jewish, or as one says in Hebrew, the more it returns to Judaism, a process which has been underway in Israel at least since 1967. 1967, what does that say?
That's a key word. That's a very key word, Anthony.
Okay, so anyway, I'll call back and you can, or do you want I'll just hold on.
Well, you just hang on. All of you hang on. What we're going to do is try to get this in order. And, I don't want to leave my crewmate out here. Ron Kukal, do you have anything to say, sir?
Oh, not a thing. I'm taking this all in. Some of it I know. I know a little bit about it already, especially what Dave's talking about. Matter of fact, there's a brand new movie out there, 2016, that's got a lot of this about colonialization. So I understand what he's talking about. But go ahead. I like listening to you people.
Okay, well, thank you, Ronald. I appreciate that. And, I always have to take James from L.A. He is number 6 in line. We got more after that, I believe. But, James, go ahead. And James has done quite a lot for the cause of the USS Liberty, ushijack.com. To go to his website, ushijack.com. I apologize for not mentioning it at the beginning of the show, but I've just been swamped here with trying to read my own writing. Try that sometime. Go ahead, James.
Thanks for taking my call, Phil. Interesting show as usual. Virginia's a friend, a mutual friend. Honored to be on with you and Ron, another friend from the USS Liberty, of course. And honored to host a show, co-host a show with him recently, the Colonel Wilkerson one, which I hope gets added to the RBN archive sooner rather than later. But anyway, some stuff I wanted to bring up that's very concerning. And going back to the, Liberty survivor Ernie Gallo, who was on the show recently as well. You've got a major drill going on right now in the Persian Gulf. with the UK and US, pushed for by the pro-Israel lobby, of course, both in the UK, which Gilad Atzmon has written about, and here in the US, AIPAC and the neocons and all that, usual suspects. Anyway, what's very concerning now is that they are simulating the Strait of Hormuz being cut off if there's any kind of attack on Iran, because Iran's going to retaliate by doing that. At least that's what they've said. And as you know, I warned against Iran attacking any of our ships, including the USS Stennis, which is on the way back to the Gulf, and they had actually threatened the Stennis don't come back or suffer the consequences. So it's a very volatile situation. I don't know if Netanyahu is going to pull the trigger on an attack on Iran, because he may have been persuaded by Obama to wait until after the election. But where we get into a very dangerous area is, will Israel pull another USS Liberty type attack to get us into a war with Iran with all this going on in the Gulf currently? Iran's just launched a submarine. It's very, very concerning. We have to keep a heads up for that. I think Ernie Gallo warned about that any U.S. ship that, does have a USS Liberty pulled against it, the U.S. government is not going to come to a table. Maybe with Martin Dempsey, who's the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, maybe he will take it into his own hands if it happens again. Let's hope he does, because he has resisted Netanyahu's call for war against Iran. He does not want to be complicit with any Israeli attack on Iran. But I've got a couple
let me jump in here, James. I don't think General Dempsey would go for a false flag USS Liberty attack, but General Dempsey is not, he's controlled by the Congress of the United States and the President of the United States, and whatever they want, they'll do, and they're on, whatever Israel wants, Israel gets. And I want to get Virginia's take on this. What do you think, Virginia?
I'm very concerned also about the Straits of Hormuz, particularly since I've heard that one of the big ships sent over there was due to be mothballed, and I'm thinking, why are they sending a ship that's due for the scrap heap over there?
Virginia, I was concerned about that one too. That was the USS Enterprise. But you know what was interesting about that, and I wanted to get your take on that too. Not to step on you, but I'm a little bit familiar because I saw a CNN story about it yesterday. They had the reporter on there yesterday, Chris Lawrence on CNN, and they were saying that the USS Enterprise that he was on in the Persian Gulf currently was the biggest carrier in the Navy. So I'm just wondering if they got that information right, because I know that Mike Rivero had mentioned it at whatreallyhappened.com that it was heading over there and it was going to be decommissioned. But then here's Chris Lawrence, a CNN reporter, saying that he was on the USS Enterprise in the Persian Gulf and that it was the biggest ship that the Navy had. Well, if the Enterprise, that we're thinking is an older ship, and it definitely wouldn't be the biggest ship. So I'm just wondering if it's been replaced already. That'd be a really interesting thing to look into. But just quickly, and I want to hand it back to you. I've got a couple other points here. We need to support Maureen Dowd, of the New York Times. I mean, she's usually pretty liberal, but she's been against the neocon War for Israel agenda. And she had a recent article this week in the New York Times. You can see it. Phil very kindly mentioned the USHijack.com blog, my blog. It's at the very top there now, and it's titled "Neocons Slither Back In." And she basically hammers Romney and these neocon Israel First Jews that are basically running the show for the GOP, including Dan Senior, who is an intern with AIPAC. And please, we've got to support her. They're already pulling the anti-Semitic card on her. Again, go to the top of USHijack.com for that. And then a couple more things. You guys mentioned Israel Shock. Anthony had an excellent call about that. He's very important because he had actually translated the Hebrew of the whole agenda that we're dealing with in the Middle East right now, the whole war agenda, the divide and conquer of Israel's enemies agenda. It was titled Strategy for Israel in the 1980s. And my good friend who's been on the program before, Stephen Segoski, elaborates on that in his Transparent Cabal book. And Israel Shahak, like I said, translated the Hebrew, and it was all about making ethnic strife between different factions in the Middle East, Sunni, Shia, all that. And the latest news today is that the neocons, Richard Pearl and all that, have been successful, of course with AIPAC, this crossover there, in getting the MEK...
Hey, James, I got to break in here. We've got to go to a break here in 10 seconds, but I want to remind you folks, it's not going to take a aircraft carrier. It's not going to take a destroyer or destroyer escort. It could be a tugboat that gets attacked.
That's right. Or Phil, even if one of our ships attack it on accident, thinking it's an Iranian.
The war is on. Come back, folks. We'll be right back. We'll try to finish up this show. Thank you, RBN.
For liberty.
you concerned about fluoride, chlorine, parasites, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Dalton ceramic water filters have been made continuously since 1827 and are used by disaster relief organizations and in third world countries to supply safe drinking water. Not only do we offer gravity filter systems, but also under the sink and countertop systems. Our replacement filters can be used to upgrade your existing system. And unlike some other filters on the market, Dalton filters do not have to be primed. For more information, call us at 800-696-1435, 800-696-1435, or order online at Dalton.com. That's DOULTON.com.
Wouldn't you agree? Healthy people are happier and more productive. Obesity is the root cause of many health problems. Do you want to lose weight safely, look sexy and attractive without side effects and no chemicals? Lose weight without the side effects safely with Zeno's organic dietary supplements. Made in the USA, 100% USDA certified organic. Visit www.zenos.com. That's www.zenohs.com. Try our products risk-free for a limited time offer. No purchase necessary. You only pay shipping and handling. Get your old, sexy body back now. Visit Zenos.com. Get your free supplements now. Visit Zenos.com right now. www.zenohs.com. That's www.zenohs.com.
Hey there, my name is Frank Bates. What I'm about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could get me in a lot of trouble. I just created a free video presentation at 123crooks.com that exposes the electricity monopolies and government agencies for what they really are. Incompetent, lying crooks that are counting on your ignorance and fear to keep your power bills criminally high. Some have called this a conspiracy. Others have called it a cover-up. And you'll be shocked to find out how deep the conspiracy goes. My video at 123crooks.com exposes the truth and shows you the secret of how I beat them and how you can beat them too. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in the last 3 months. Go to 123crooks.com and discover one weird trick to slash your power bill and protect your home. Go watch my video now at 123crooks.com before they force me to shut it down. 123crooks.com.
Welcome back. So we go for the last few minutes with Your Voice Counts, and of course I'm going to give my very, very special honored guest, Virginia, the last few moments to, take off the show. But, Virginia, here we are in a very, very tight jar, a pickle, if you may. The government of Israel, along with the United States, with their support, have put us in such grave danger. We have Russia, China, Pakistan, and how knows who many others that want to blow us off the face of the earth. Now, if we don't stop this, if we don't get some kind of a thin line, maybe it's thin, but not broken, that we are not going to go to war for Israel. And if we do, I think World War III is on the horizon. What are your thoughts, Virginia?
Well, I'm just very, very concerned about it. None of this is in the interest of the United States. And I think we have created so much hatred against ourselves unnecessarily. I agree with Ron Paul completely that if we want to be treated like a civilized country again, we have to get out of other people's countries. We have to think how we would feel if they were here. And we would be fighting them tooth and nail, just as they are trying to fight us. And we just need to get out and come home. Support our troops, bring them home.
Support our troops and bring them home.
Yes.
Congress, are you listening? Support our troops, but bring them home, and bring them home now. We need no more amputees. We need no more dead. We need no more soldiers, soldiers and Marines being slaughtered. It has become such a cluster, if you know what I mean, that it happens every day, and we are in a in my view, if something doesn't change soon, we're going off the abyss in the financial world. We're $16 billion in debt. That cliff is already done. And if we continue to give Israel all the money that we give them every day, that they get more money than we get for our own military, we're a loser. So, however this election ends up, I don't think it has anything to do with what's going to happen in the Middle East. I think that Netanyahu will eventually attack Iran. That's my final thoughts. What do you think, Virginia?
I can't predict that. I don't think he'll attack unless he thinks we'll support him. I think he might be a little bit crazy, but I don't think he's that crazy. If Israel attacks Iran, it will be because they think we will come to their rescue, and they would rather that we did the heavy lifting.
Well, absolutely. They don't want to lose anybody. They don't want to do all the heavy moving. But listen, folks, everybody called in and held on and everything. It was a great show tonight. It's just jam-packed. We have to do it again. Thanks for all the callers, and I appreciate it. Remember, support RBN, and this show was very, very interesting. But remember, folks, our existence counts on us speaking out. I know James Morris gets on every line he can get on and do what he can do, like we all do. But God bless America. God bless our troops. I love America with all my heart, and I love you all for coming on. Thank you.
It's an honor to be on with you.